What's up, guys? It's the Wolf here, and today this is the first episode of the Wolf's Den podcast. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably gonna do this weekly, every Friday, probably around whenever the hell you just seen this video. No, but for real, I'm probably gonna post it around 3 to 6 p.m. every Friday. It's gonna be an interesting podcast that hopefully I can develop and make better every episode. But this is the first one. Basically, I'm just going to go over, news throughout the week that, I couldn't really talk on too much. I do have a lot of shows that I'm dealing with right now, but, I can't do opinion pieces on everything. This is kind of like the center, this is where you can come to and see kind of like the details on everything. But, I'm going to have to work everything out, see if I can make it the best that it can be for you guys. But let's just get this party started. I do have a vape. I am a vapor. I'm vapor waving vapor waving everywhere. But so if I have to take a vape, that's perfectly understandable, I'd hope, to you guys. But that's just who I am. Hopefully this show isn't too long, but let's just get into it. So first off, the Modern Warfare 2 beta. I made a full video. You guys can check it out. I'll link it down in the description. It's just disappointing. I don't really want to go over it all over again, but it is disappointing that Infinity Ward doesn't care. I didn't expect them to do anything. If I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, it's nothing surprising, but the beta obviously has a lot of problems. I'm not going to really I'm trying to play the beta maybe Saturday when it hits everybody, just because I was really feeling just not in the mood to try and register through the whole Activision account and all that. Just saying, I don't give a fuck. I don't care that much about Modern Warfare 2's beta and if it's amazing or not. I'm still gonna pick up the game and see what it's all about. But it's just disappointing. I want to know where Call of Duty goes. Obviously, it's gonna be a flop, or it's gonna be average, or it's gonna be great. We're not gonna really have an in-between area. I'm sure a lot of fans are gonna be pissed and a lot are gonna love it, and we're just gonna have to wait and find out. Also, the PSVR 2 that was confirmed not to be backwards compatible, which we'll get into a little bit more about the PSVR 2 later in the show. But I just wanted to point out, this doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't at all. I mean, all I see basically is a hardware upgrade. So what's the problem with playing old PSVR games? I don't see a big issue with that. Doesn't really make too much sense to me. If anything, those games aren't going to have the features that the new model has, like the haptic feedback, etc. But that's not really an issue if we're playing old shit. I don't get it, because I really wanted to. I passed on PSVR because of the price, and I'm not really the biggest VR guy, if I'm gonna be honest with you guys. But I don't even think I had an interest in VR whatsoever until Half-Life Alyx, and I was like, okay, they're kind of getting somewhere with this. And then they had the Medal of Honor VR game, but these were, I believe, only on Oculus. So I didn't have a PC at the time to run it, which I don't even know if my PC can run Oculus now at the point it's at with a 3070. So, I'm still not that interested. But the PSVR 2 looks like it has some potential. And then, I heard about this. I'm like, damn, man, you telling me I have to go buy a PSVR to play PSVR games that I probably don't even like, when I could have just went out, bought the games, played it on the VR2, and then decided I didn't like them, versus having to buy this whole extra shit. And it just was disappointing to find that out. Also, Microsoft stated that they're gonna buy even more studios. That was kind of a shocker to to say that while your acquisition with Activision is kind of like being halted. It isn't ballsy, but it's just like, bro. It's like you have this. It's like when you're playing a game and you see like you see the process of something being built, and it's, you know, the line's almost done, and you're like, yeah, and we got all this plan. You're like, damn, that kind of like kills what we're doing right now. You know? But I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait. I think, you know, once they get the ball rolling, they get these Bethesda IPs, these Activision IPs going, I think it's all gonna be a lot better for Microsoft. Because right now, I think Phil Spencer's, he's starting to get a lot more criticism, you know, because this is, what has he been the head of Xbox since like 2017, and we still haven't had like a good stream of Xbox titles, which Halo Infinite was supposed to be the first, you know, Starfield was supposed to be kind of like this year's, and everything's getting pushed, delayed. You have Halo Infinite doing terrible. They're just not doing, they're not doing good, you know, and hopefully, you know, what will happen is when the Bethesda IPs or, you know, Activision IPs start rolling out under Microsoft, and these titles underperform, or they're not on par with their predecessors, I think Phil is going to get a lot of criticism at that point. But, you know, until then, let's just wait. Let's just see what happens. But yeah, and GTA 6's leaked gameplay also was a huge thing this week. I think that was blown out of proportion, though. Now, don't get me wrong. I totally understand this hurts the gaming industry. You know, all the programmers, designers, you know, everybody involved with developing the game. This hurts them, and I get it. I understand. But at the same time, Rockstar is kind of a shitty company at this point. If you want to look at what they got, you know, they have GTA 5 going on 10 years. You know, you have Red Dead Redemption 2 that got, you know, kind of like, you know, just shifted to the back. You know, they didn't give a fuck about, you know, the supporting their multiplayer, which is just batshit because that was a really popular game. And then last year you had the whole debacle with the remaster trilogy. It's not looking too hot, you know. And if I am correct, I'm pretty sure they didn't even announce like a title. They didn't announce the characters, the city, none of that until some leaked details came out, you know? So what the fuck are you doing, Rockstar? You need to release something at this point. You just need to release something. This dude that actually did it turned out to be kind of a douchebag, though, because he was kind of holding the leaked footage for ransom for Rockstar, which is just kind of just a dicky move. You know, it's a dick move to leak it anyway, but if you were doing it simply out of the kindness of the Grand Theft Auto fans, you're like, they're actually working on something, here, look at it, you know. I get that, but now you're kind of just being a dick, you know, at that point. Not that he wasn't already, but you know what I mean. I just think Rockstar had it coming with them pretty much not having anything on their fucking plate, you know? It's literally just been GTA 5 for 10 years, re-releasing this bitch over and over again. It's frustrating. Your fans want another game, you know? I mean, I get it. You make bank off of these teenagers that play in their mom's basement and swipe their fucking dad's credit card, their stepdad's credit card. But that's not... What are you doing, you know? Are we really not going to have a GTA until the next consoles generation? That's ridiculous. That would be... Oh my god, that'd be PS3, PS4, PS5, all in one generation of GTA, you know? That's just ridiculous, honestly. So, I mean, I also don't think that, you know, this discourage, like, because a lot of people were saying this is going to discourage people from buying the game. First off, let me just state that, you know, the only people that even got to look at this leaked footage are people that are on gaming websites, seeing news articles, you know, interested. And if they are, they're not gonna, they know what the fuck a pre-development game looks like. This does not look like the finished product whatsoever. You know, this is not going to discourage people. When the final reveal comes out, anybody that was discouraged they're gonna be like, oh, this is what it really looks like. Okay. You know, it's to say it discourages people and that the next game isn't going to sell as well because of this, and this hurts Rockstar. I don't think so at all. No, I don't think so. I think, if anything, this is good. This is good for Rockstar because they didn't have anything. They didn't have any fucking news. They were out of the news, and now they're breaking fucking headlines. What the fuck? Like, this is great. This is free advertising. Why would they not want this? I get they don't want it shown, but you need to show something. Show some fucking, just a box art, concept or something, anything. Tell us a little bit about the fucking game. Can you just do something at this point? If the game's coming out in, I'm going to say it's coming out in 2024, 2025, just give us something. Anything, Obviously, you're working on something. We just seen it. But whatever. What are you going to do? And then this one was also pretty interesting. The EA CEO hopes that Call of Duty becomes exclusive. This is just funny because it's like, what are you really expecting? Okay, now, not only, I get it that if Call of Duty does become exclusive, not only is Call of Duty going to have to innovate to keep the small player base that they now have joined on Call of Duty, I should say, but obviously Sony is going to have to as well innovate and make an FPS game or outright buy an IP. That's obvious. But to say that Battlefield is going to have any positive feedback from this even happening is ridiculous. You've done pissed off everybody, my dude. And they just put out this 20 years of Battlefield trailer today. And I'm like, man, what are you doing? You're just like, hey, so this is what we used to be. This is what we used to be. This is just, we forgot the template. We left it in the basement and we went from scratch. It wasn't as good, I understand. But, like, you're that fucking douchebag. It's like, we completely know exactly what made our game great, but we did not do it. We did not do that. We did something different. And you're like, if Call of Duty becomes exclusive, Battlefield has a chance. My job is not in risk, It's like, dude, your fucking fan base is gone. They're on Battlefield 4 right now. They're not interested in the next Battlefield. Like, you really have to impress everybody. Not only with the reveal, you have to have some amazing details come out. You have to show the gameplay. The game has to be stable. The game then has to release. The game releases and it's good. Then it's good, and then you might get some fucking people back. But until then, I think you lost a lot of people for life at this point. Like, this game was trash. Really got us to thinking, maybe I shouldn't buy Battlefield at $70, because if I didn't, I could have gotten this game for 40, 30, however fucking much discounted it was in December. I remember it got discounted fast. That was hilarious. But yeah, I don't see where the fuck. That's just hilarious. I didn't expect him to even make a comment, and then he did, and I'm like, really, dude? Really? You like, that is gonna make your game any better? I mean, I get it, you're hopeful, but fix your game. Don't give a fuck about what's happening with Call of Duty, because they literally have their fan base fucking fixed. They're never gonna leave. But another thing that I wanted to talk about that was pretty popular amongst YouTubers I seen was that PS5 is going to have a detachable disk drive. I mentioned this, but I didn't really go into big detail because I didn't think of it as a big news story. But a lot of people went into it thinking that, this is gonna be where we're going from now on. The next generation of consoles, this is where it's gonna be. You're gonna have this digital only console, and then you're gonna have this digital only with a detachable disk drive, that if the disk drive breaks, you can go buy another one. And it just sounded kind of like batshit when I heard a couple YouTubers talking about it. And I'm like, all right, listen. This is what they really should do. I'm like, they should make it to where this is an accessory. which they are. They're gonna have it to where you can buy it just off the shelf, right? But make it just an accessory, right? And with every new digital console that's made, make it compatible with this accessory, right? So you have your digital only and you have your disc-based PS5. Those are two different models. Say you get the digital and you do it because the price is cheaper, or you do it because you think that you're going to go into this digital future, whatever the case may be. And, you change your mind. You can go buy this detachable disc drive, click it like a puzzle onto your digital PS5, and you're all good to go. You have a digital disc drive using PlayStation 5. Makes perfect sense, but to completely take out the disc drive market is just kind of, I don't know. It would have to be really cheaper, if you could make the digital cheaper and then, buy this, this detachable disc drive and then, all together, all the costs is even cheaper, then yeah, that would make sense. But if not, then don't take the main disc drive off the market. That would be kind of ridiculous in my opinion. I don't see digital taking over the market until, realistically, probably like 2 years into the next generation of consoles, because the internet is not there, the internet's not there. We're not there for the internet, and just hardware sucks. If you ever try to download digital games on your PS5 or Series X, it's just ridiculous how much these games take up, to where it is way easier to have a solid state drive, external, or whatever you want to do, if you have the external or the internal add-on, and just transfer over your disc-based data. That's all I do. I literally put a disc in, play it for however long I want to play it, transfer it over to my external drive, and if I ever want to play it again, transfer it back. That's really simple compared to digital, which, I mean, I guess it could probably work the same way, but then what's the point? And because I'm a collector. Personally, I'm a collector. I have a shitload of games. If I'm going to buy a game, I'm going to put it into the collection. That's just who I am. The only time I play digital is if the game is, doesn't really have great reviews, if it's a sale, if it's just something I want to try out, and then maybe put in the collection if I'm into it, something along those lines, But I'm not really a digital guy, and hopefully there'll always be a physical media for gaming, at least for the next generation of consoles. I can perfectly see like a PlayStation 7 being completely digital if the times are there for it, but we'll just have to see. Also had some movie news, which honestly, I have a lot of shows that I have in development on the channel. Obviously this is one of them, the Wolf's Den podcast. You also have Next Gaming, the CW show. But I also, in the future, I do want to kind of make little short videos on movie or film news, comic book news, whatever the case may be, whatever pertains at the time. But right now it's just kind of delegated to being shorts. But at least we can talk about it here for a little bit. New Line Cinema passed on Iron Man because they couldn't wrap their heads around how he flew off the ground, being iron and all. I thought that was really silly. Just wanted to bring it to the show because it is kind of it's funny, you think about it. So you take you back to like 2004, 2005, and you're in this meeting with these top executives, possibly Harvey Weinstein, and you're like, all right, so we're trying to make this Iron Man movie, and they're like, Iron Man, okay, it's a comic book character, okay, a comic book character, okay, and he's made of iron, he flies, and what'd you say? You said he flies. How does he fly? He's iron. How does he do it? What? And it sounds like a bunch of mumbling idiots just like in a press room, like, what do you mean? How does this work? And but then I got to thinking, I'm like, this is the same company behind Scream, you know? This is the same company that did Scream, and I get it. Scream is it kind of revived the horror industry back in the 90s whenever all the cliches were being thrown out. But what is Scream? It is kind of like this semi-comedy horror movie, it's by Wes Craven. It was such a weird pitch, I imagine, and they completely were fine with that. But Iron Man doesn't make no goddamn sense to us. We don't understand how the fuck the iron go in the air. How'd the iron get in the air? Can you please tell me how the iron gets in the air? Doesn't make any sense. But I found that to be kind of funny. There's also Anthony Mackie praising She-Hulk, which completely disappointed me. That was a disappointment. That was definitely not what I was expecting from Anthony Mackie. I'm a huge Anthony Mackie fan. Well, I wouldn't say huge. I wouldn't say I'm a huge Anthony Mackie fan, but I really like the actor. I like a lot of what he played in. I liked him in even in 8 Mile back in the day. The Hurt Locker. He's a great actor. I love the movies he's in. But what the hell is wrong with you? You're praising She-Hulk, bro. What the... I mean, I get it. That's his coworkers. This is his job. It's really scripted. Obviously, I would like to know. I mean, the funny thing is, we're not going to know any of this shit until like 10, 15 years down the road after the disclosure agreements are gone. And he's like, yeah, I did not. He's going to be old as fuck. He's like, yeah, I was not into She-Hulk. She-Hulk was not my show. They were telling me what to say. Because it is a bad show. It's a terrible show. Me and my girlfriend make fun of it every week, just for the fuck of it. It's and the thing is, there's a lot of YouTubers kind of going about saying, people are overreacting. That these are weirdos that live in their parents' basement, just trolling and texting on Twitter and Instagram, all this shit, and whatever the case may be, whatever these people have been saying. But I honestly don't think they're overreacting. I'm not a big She-Hulk fan per se. I'm a Hulk fan. I love the Hulk. She-Hulk was always kind of like a side character that I knew about. Wasn't really into her as much. Didn't really know much about her at all, really. But I respected She-Hulk. There's nothing wrong with She-Hulk, but then you have to think about it in terms of, these are, even if you're like in your late 20s all the way up till your mid 40s, early 50s, you could be a comic book fan. The age is it's not limited, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it could be anybody, really. It could be a Marvel fan at this point in history. And some of these people are kind of on their way out, don't want to be too grim, but they got like 20, 30 years left, and this is honestly probably going to be the only adaptation that we get for She-Hulk. That's pathetic. That is really pathetic, and it's sad for those people that, what if that was a really hardcore She-Hulk fan? He just grew up with it in the 90s. He didn't really like all the rest of the female characters. Wasn't into Storm. Wasn't into, the Phoenix. I forget her actual other name. Jean Grey. But, or Sue Storm. Wasn't into any of them. She-Hulk was my shit. She was cool. She was funny. She broke the third or the fourth wall. Something along those lines. Like some dude or woman was just into She-Hulk in the 90s. And now they're like, oh, they're finally making my favorite female superhero. I cannot wait until it hits Disney Plus. It's going to be so dope. And then it comes out. And what do we get? We get a fucking disaster. We get a disaster of a show. Horrible writing. The casting was meh. The action scenes were fucking terrible. The CGI was not on par. You know, it just doesn't make any sense to me why people are not trashing this show harder. You know, like, I get it that, you know, some YouTubers want to give it kind of like give the show a shot, give it its best shot, but that's not what a show is. What the fuck do you think a pilot is for? You know, like, if you have a show and the first episode bombs, what do you think happens? What you just think people come back the next week? Like, if Breaking Bad's first episode was shit, do you think the show would be anything to this day? No, it wouldn't be anything. It was a great show from start to finish. That's how a good show is. You don't just wait. You're like, okay, hopefully it starts warming. No, fuck that. Why don't you say what the fuck it is? At this direct moment, that is what the review is. You know? I don't think it's a good show. I don't think they knew what they were doing. I just don't know what the fuck is wrong with Marvel at this point, to be honest. Like, back in the day when I was in high school, Marvel was like, you know, you thought of Kevin Feige as being this head nerd at this long conference table full of a bunch of just max nerds that knew everything about comics, and they'd have all the comic books out, and they're like, oh yeah, we could use this, we could use that, we could implement this. And that's what the vibe I got back in the day with the original Avengers, with the perfect casting, the good writing, or the great writing, I should say. It was a good show. Like, everything was amazing. And then you get, you know, kind of where we are now, to where it feels like Kevin Feige is in the same room, except it's literally like he's going through comic books and he's tearing out pages of each comic book, slapping like a big stack on the desk and saying, okay, just filter out what we can get through that, and I'll be back in about, you know, 2 years. You know, he's not there anymore, or what. I don't know if he was even really a big influence in the greatness of what Marvel was at the start. You know, I think it might have had a lot to do with potentially, you know, I forget the director for the first Iron Man. I should know. But he's a great director. He's a great actor too. But maybe he had a lot of influence on the MCU at the time. He also had, what was the other dude's name that directed Avengers? He kind of like fell out of the limelight. What was his name? I'm curious now. It's gonna be stupid because obviously this is an easy one. I'm probably gonna figure it out as I type this. Let's see. Yeah, Joss Whedon. So maybe Joss Whedon had something to do with it as well. You know, maybe the Russo brothers have something to do with how it's turning out. I have no idea, but it's just like, it's just not what it used to be anymore. It's cringy. Like, why is it cringy? Why are you making fun of your show every week? Every week they make fun of it like they're gonna hate this, and it's like, we do hate it. You know, like, why do you keep doing this to us? You know, and like the fact that they admitted that they don't know anything about law. Their writers are not familiar with law is just frustrating. It's like, why couldn't you know, this is Disney. This is Disney. They are a $1 billion company. You're telling me you couldn't take a stroll down to the fucking Law and Order office and be like, hey, can we borrow just one of you guys? We need to know what we're doing. You know? Like, literally, that's it. But no, you wanted to make this fucking comedy and not be realistic at all, or there was just so much potential with a law division that defended superheroes. You could literally do anything. And you have Wong over here who could just beat this fucking magician's ass, and he's like going to court about it and shit to get his... No, what? It just doesn't make sense. You know, I think the best part so far was the immortal dude. I forget his name, what they said, but he was basically immortal. And that was probably the best part so far, but even that didn't add up to me. And I don't know if it's just because Disney didn't want to show a bunch of gore or bad messages, or they just wanted to keep it light. But when he was speaking, he was saying how he dies, but he doesn't actually die. He dies, but he doesn't die. He dies, but he doesn't die, you know? And I'm like, okay, I get that. I understand that. I kind of see where you're going with this. I'm thinking in my head that he dies because obviously he jumps out this window, right? And it's like because of anxiety. That's kind of funny. You know, I did find that a little funny. But so he jumps out and he hits this fucking car, and you don't really see much. And then it pans up, and he, starts uncracking his neck and shit, and walks away. And I'm like, oh, they had a missed opportunity there. They could have made some really good comedy gold if they just actually killed him, and somehow made it a magic kind of link to where he was like reincarnated into another body or something along those lines. So every time he killed himself, he would come back as a different actor or person, and that would have been funny. That would have been something. Instead of constantly just like the most you could get out of that character was when he started getting anxiety, he would like do like this get up motion, like I'm about to do it. I'm about to fucking do it. And it's like that's funny too, but you can only do that so many times before it's like, okay, like who's really just gonna jump out of a fucking building because, just leave the room. Leave the room. Why is he killing himself to get out of something? You're not actually getting out of it. Because that made a lot of sense to me. I'm like, okay, so if he actually kills himself, if he really goes through with it, they don't know who he is anymore. He's a whole new person. That's what I was thinking that they were going with, and that would have been a lot more cooler, I feel like, but that was literally the highlight of the entire show so far. And the fact that they showed at the last part of last week's episode about Daredevil. So there's this superhero designer, designs all the clothes, right? He fucking, at the last second you see, Daredevil's helmet is in one of these little gift things. And you connect the dots, but then you think, okay, so this means that Daredevil, he had this plug of a designer, superhero designer, and he was like, man, I just need a new update. Or I just need a new helmet, or I need help making a helmet or something. And he goes to this dude, which if you compare, I think the original Netflix series, he had like this badass dude built his suit, and it was all bulletproof and all that. And then you compare that to this bougie, like, designer, just mess, I cannot see Daredevil walking into that same office, and it's like, it just doesn't even look right in my head, it just doesn't sound right. It just seems like they're going for some weird shit in Marvel now. Not into it. But the last thing, movie related and also Marvel, is the casting of Sabra. I posted that on a short and I didn't really get too much attention on it. And I'm sure people just don't know who it is. I didn't either. I don't know who Sabra is. I guess it's a Muslim superhero from like the 70s or 80s. And she has like some superpowers, but she also looks like that one lady from I can never remember her name. She played in Avengers. She's like right below Nick Fury. She played in How I Met Your Mother. You guys know who I'm talking about, but that's kind of like the vibe I was getting from like the pictures of the comics. And then the actual actress she is small. She's 27 years old, but she looks like she's like 5'2", 4'11" type of height. She's like anorexic. She just doesn't look like a superhero at all. She looks like a child. She legit looks like a child. And when I seen the news article, I genuinely thought they hired, like, this is like the next answer to like Ironheart. You know how Ironheart's I think a college, like a college girl. So I'm like, oh, they're going for another young type of vibe or some shit. And then to find out, no, this is a full-grown woman. This is I'm like, oh my god, dude, like, what are you doing? This doesn't make any goddamn sense. Like, they got Sue Storm right, if what I seen was correct. Sue Storm looks amazing. That's a really good casting. but they're just messing up with some of these castings. Like Sabra's fucking off. You had She-Hulk was off. They really need to get their shit together. I think, honestly, Disney's probably going to step in if, once the first flop hits, if Wakanda Forever kind of does, underperforms what they expect, or Ant-Man, Quantum Mania, or Captain America, if any of those flop, I think Disney's going to be like, listen, bro, Kevin Feige, what's going on? What's going on? Because, it's been a while. It's been a while. Endgame was a while ago. We gave you guys 5-6 years, and you're kind of being average over here. What's going on? Hopefully, because I do want Marvel to come back. I know there's a shitload of memes out saying it's the MCU. It's the MCU died with Tony, and it's at this point it kind of did. Spider-Man was the only movie that I genuinely liked. I think if we're gonna go back, you have Endgame, then you had Far From Home, and after that I think you had Black Widow. That was okay. I think Black Widow was actually the weakest part of the movie. The rest of her family was much more interesting. And you had after that, you had Shang-Chi. I don't want to admit it, but I did kind of doze off a little bit in the theater. I could have just been tired, but the movie was slow. Pretty slow, but it wasn't terrible. It wasn't a terrible movie. Then you had the Eternals. Eternals was fucking... It would, when I first seen it in the theater, I was really into it, and I was really digging it because of the man, forgetting the name, what you call it. That's just how sad because if this was a Bond movie, I would have remembered the Celestials. There, it came in my fucking head after a minute. The Celestials was a really cool concept that I was into. But going back to it and watching it on Disney Plus, it's such a slow movie. Such a slow movie. And there's a lack of decent characters to really keep you going through it. When you first see it in the movie theater, you kind of can't escape it. You can't leave the movie theater. You paid, you're sitting there eating. You might, ignore it if it isn't your thing. That's what you gotta do. But if it's in your house, it's just harder to get through because you can just turn it off. You can just be like, yeah, this is not that good as I remember it. Click, and it's gone. You don't have to really... There's nothing stopping you, So I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm not digging it as much. But after Eternals, you had Spider-Man. Amazing. 10 out of 10. Probably not a 10 out of 10. Probably a 9 out of 10 for me. But, that was amazing. Then you get to Doctor Strange. Massive disappointment. Massive fucking disappointment. That was... it wasn't a terrible movie, but was it really good? I don't think so. It wasn't that good. If anything, it was just it was like a pickup off of the WandaVision show, and I don't know. It just wasn't... They could have did it in many different ways. I feel like they need more people together thinking about how to do these movies, because I don't know, it just didn't really add up to me. And then you had obviously Thor Love and Thunder, which is getting a lot of hate because it's so goddamn flooded with humor, and some things hit, some didn't. I think they could have showed Gore the God Butcher actually butcher more gods. I think they could have just showed him more in general, but it was really slapstick, and I just don't like how they made Thor like this comedic relief character. He was never... I don't really see him as that. Occasionally, but not full the entire movie. That's a bit much. As for the shows, I think I liked most of the shows that have come out on Disney Plus. I just didn't like What If. I was expecting a weekly episode that differed, and say it was Marvel team ups and just different timeline type things, but all they really did was we're gonna replace this character with another character, and we're gonna do this instead of this, and this is all gonna be a new multiverse. And it's like, what the fuck do you mean? I don't want that. I just want these individual little stories, you know? Why are you trying to make it bigger than it is? You know, this is a short little animated series. Like, I don't know that just wasn't for me, but Hawkeye was really good. A lot of people didn't like that one, which surprised me. Obviously, I liked Loki. WandaVision didn't really get good until the last like 3 or 4 episodes. It was a little slow. Trying to think of the other shows. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier wasn't terrible. I think they just fucked up the U.S. agent. I think they should have got the dude from the Reacher show. That would have been a perfect casting, 100%. I don't know why. Like, the casting, they're just fried. They don't know what the hell they're doing anymore, you know? I don't know if it's just because that's, what's his face's son? Forget his name. Damn, I'm really doing bad with names today. I think it's Chris something. But yeah, I did not like him as a US agent, you know. And after that, I don't think there's too much shows. I mean, you had Moon Knight. I liked Moon Knight. Could have been a little darker, but it was good. Miss Marvel was not for me. She-Hulk is not for me, even though we've been watching it just to make fun of it. There isn't really anything. I want to see that werewolf show, see if that's interesting next month. But there's little projects here and there that I'm interested in. But I just want to see how the new Captain America does without Chris Evans compared to the old ones. That's going to be interesting. I want to see how this Ironheart show goes, even though I'm not really into it. Armor Wars as well. I don't like Don Cheadle. Not really into him. I always preferred the other dude that played Rhodey, Terrence Howard. Even though he just got too greedy, he would have been a perfect Rhodey for like an entire show, you know. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Hopefully, Marvel just turns their game around. Also, the EA. Speaking of Marvel, EA's Iron Man game. That, out of all the studios that could have fucking picked up an Iron Man game, it had to be EA. You know, hopefully it's not an Anthem 2.0. That would be very disappointing. It's supposed to be built up from the ground. Whole new story that we've never had with Tony. So that's going to be interesting. I feel like we're just going to have to wait and find out, see what EA can do, because Iron Man's probably one of my favorite superheroes, and for it to be getting done by EA is just sad. You know, I would have much preferred, what's that company that did Spider-Man? Goddamn. These are things I should know, like right off the bat. Insomniac. See how I try to not use Google to remember things, but it's like, especially doing this podcast, I'm like, I gotta know it right now. But yeah, Insomniac would have done a phenomenal Iron Man game, I feel like, but they got their plate full with Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine, so at least they're doing Wolverine. I love Wolverine too, so just have to wait and find out on that. The NVIDIA CEO says the prices are staying the same for the GPUs because of costs. I talked about this in yesterday's video. It honestly doesn't seem like a necessity to me, if I'm being real with you. I have a 3070. I'm just waiting for the 3090 to drop in price if I'm ever going to upgrade. But, you know, there's no reason to get these massive GPUs. There's no reason right now, you know, unless you are, you know, like a hardcore PC gamer. That's all you play is PC. It's your main hobby. You know, you use your PC for work, something along those lines. Then yeah, I could see maybe if you want to, if you really want to, go for it. But, you know, don't bitch about it, because this is new tech. This is the new tech. It's going to be expensive. The GPU is basically one of the biggest components of the PC. So what did you expect? And it's going to perform better than any console on the market. You're buying a PlayStation 5 for $500. What's wrong with paying, $900? That doesn't, and especially if you're just upgrading. If you're just upgrading and that's the only part that you really need to upgrade on your PC is the GPU. What's the big difference between buying a PS5 for $500 last you 5-6 years versus the latter? Doesn't really make sense to me. Now if you're buying an entirely new PC, I don't even think you should get that high of specs. I just don't see the point in it. I think everybody should just calm down, because it's obviously the prices are going to come down. Say these launch whenever they launch, and years later it's going to be more affordable and it'll be okay. Right now, I mean, unless you want to future-proof the fuck out of your PC, which I don't see why, there's no sense in really complaining about this. Maybe the cost and the economy are a big deal, and maybe they don't want to lose their ass. I don't know. They know that this is a very luxurious hobby. This is not nothing. You have to be financially stable to begin with. You don't just take a loan out for a PC. You know what I'm saying? You have to be straight away to do stuff like this. So I don't know. And the 900 doesn't seem that fucking crazy. Now they have a 1200. That's not, that's a little bit pricey. And then they have one above that. I think it's like 1500. That's a little bit much. I would never pay $1,500 for a GPU. That's fucking crazy. But prices will go down. Everybody just chill out. Get your 3090, get your 3080. I'm sure those prices are going to drop soon too, so just wait it out. What's the problem? And yeah, the official PSVR 2 trailer hit. That was I don't know. I'm excited. I think it looks a lot better with the eye tracking and the 1440p. I know it's still wired and people are freaking out about that. I just want to know how long the wire is, where you hook it up at, all that details. But just because it's wired doesn't turn me off. I mean, hopefully the PSVR 3 is wireless. Hopefully. I mean, goddamn, but I don't think a wire really matters. Especially, I think the PSVR 2 is going to max out versus the Oculus. The Oculus is just wireless, which is, I guess, a big appeal to people now. So I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see. Hopefully I get my hands on one when they come out and I can review it for you guys. The Splinter Cell reboot. That is so exciting. I haven't played a fucking Splinter Cell game since 2013 with Blacklist, and that was one of my favorites. I know it isn't probably the best Splinter Cell game, but for the graphical side of things, it's one of the most impressive stealth games out there with the shadows and all that. It's awesome. I love that fucking game. And the fact we're getting a reboot at all is fantastic. I hope they do it justice. I hope they do it right. I hope they don't put a bunch of dumb shit in it, and I hope it's not live service. Hope it's not like this big open world, kind of like Hitman went. I want it to just be like these small not small environments, but like just basic, nothing too crazy, But that's really exciting. I can't wait till we see some more on that. Hopefully we get a reveal soon, just a teaser trailer, something. And Ubisoft is hurting, so this is going to be huge if this actually does good. They need this. They need something good, with the, Ghost Recon Breakpoint kind of flopping. You had Watch Dogs Legion kind of flopped. What else did they? Assassin's Creed Valhalla kind of was mixed, but I thought that was I did think that was a pretty good Assassin's Creed. It was just filled with so much goddamn filler. But I think they really need a break. They need a break from just being hated. At this point, they need something. And then Gearbox CEO, this was another one. He stated that they're doing more Tiny Tina Wonderlands experiences, so we're gonna get more Tiny Tina games, I guess. But that's not really my. I haven't played it yet. I've seen the reviews. That's what's kind of held me off on it, because the price is still like $70 and it's rated like 75, 76. So I'm like, not really my. I'll wait on it for a little bit, you know. But my main concern is, where the fuck is Brothers in Arms 4? You know, Randy Pitchford has been talking about this fucking game since like 2011, back when it was Brothers in Arms The Furious 4. And then I think 2017 he said some new details are coming, and 2020 he said something, and 2021 he said something, and it's just like, where the fuck is it, bro? Where is anything? Literally anything, just a trailer, something, because Brothers in Arms is way up on my list, and like obviously a Borderlands 4, but you know, Tiny Tina's is, they're like, this is a whole new franchise. It's like, really? This is a whole new franchise? My dude, this is the same franchise. This is Borderlands. This is still one franchise, you know? It's like, I feel like some of these companies are just like, oh, we got one. We got a franchise. We got something new. We got something that can make us a little bit of money, man, you know? And then they ruin it by making it a live service or add a bunch of dumb shit in. And give me Brothers in Arms 4. Give me like an entire, give it like a whole reboot, you know? Start in D-Day, go all the way through to Berlin. Make that an entire game, be awesome. That would really, I feel like, give competition to Sniper Elite as well, because that's like the only other World War II third-person game, which I think Brothers in Arms was first person, but it'd be cool if you could toggle it, you know, in and out for the strategy aspects. But you know, I just want to know. I just want to know where my Brothers in Arms is at. I haven't played that fucking game since 2008 with the Hell's Highway, and I just want it back. That's all. But yeah, that's pretty much all the news. I mean, there's also this Adam Levine short that I put out. It was about he cheated on his wife of 8 years while she's carrying his third baby. And get this, he wanted to name the baby after his side piece, his Instagram side piece. The audacity! Oh my god! I literally woke up this morning, saw that, and showed my girlfriend. I'm like, look at this. Look at the audacity that this man has. He not only were you with her for 8 years on your third baby, but then you want to name the baby after the bitch you. Oh my god. It's fucking ridiculous. But yeah. I mean, that's about it on the news wise. I mean, me personally, I got Final Fantasy Origins installing right now. I'm probably gonna play that right after I finish this little podcast. But yeah, I got that installing. I'm gonna try and figure out how to stream off of the PlayStation 5. Maybe I'll even stream it. But other than that, I mean, I'm just been chilling. I have a lot of shows to go through that I've just been put on the back burner, and I need to just sit down and watch some shit, because I have a ton of shows I got to get through. But other than that, I mean, movie wise, I think we're gonna see a horror movie probably Monday. Probably give you guys a first impressions on something. It's either gonna be that Barbarian movie or Pearl. They both look interesting, but they both also look kind of like you know. So, but there's nothing out. There's nothing else out. So, but there's a shitload of movies coming out throughout the, you know, October, November, December. So that should be pretty interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just been kind of chilling, and trying to get my sleeping schedule together so I can make videos as much as I can, and, you know, get everything done around the house, but we'll just have to see how that all goes. This whole YouTube thing is just, it ain't brand new to me, but the fact that I'm taking it seriously this time is, I don't know, it makes it more like meaningful to try and do certain things and make certain shows, and I feel like I'm doing decent, I feel like I'm doing pretty good, if you want to be honest. We're up to 147,000 subscribers, so that's awesome. I can't wait until we hit the 200 mark and hit the 1,000 mark and all that, and we have 75,000 views. We hit that benchmark, so that's awesome, but I don't know. This is it's exciting. It's always exciting going through YouTube, looking at all the shit, but we're just gonna have to wait and find out how this channel goes. Like I said, I have, what do we have so far, kind of getting through. I have to do a next gen charts episode probably tomorrow. That's, oh, my nose. That's gonna be, weekly sales charts and NPD reports. So that's something I've always been into too. Like, I've always been into charts since I was probably 12 or 13 years old. I've always been into looking at the charts and which games are doing the best and all that. So, and I put it in, I think, one of my early Next Gaming episodes, and I was like, you know what, people probably don't want to watch this. Like, if you want to know next gen charts or just the charts in general, there's a whole place for you. And I kind of made it like this thing where, this can be kind of like an archive. You could go back and look on a weekly basis of how things were going in the console generation. So that's kind of why that's important to me, I guess. But we also have the Wolf's Shorts, which obviously is just a variety of shorts, things I can't really do right now on other shows. I'd like to expand eventually, but I just want to get these first couple out of the way. I got the Wolf's Den podcast as the first one. The Wolf Live is all the live streams that I've done. That's just a playlist, but the CW show is shorter opinion pieces. Like, it's gonna be like this, but like one topic, that's at like 23 videos. Next Gaming episodes are at 32, and I'm proud of Next Gaming. Next Gaming is going somewhere, I feel like. I also want to do, you got Click Impressions, which I don't know if I'll change the name of it eventually or what, but I thought it was clever at the time, because it's giving you an impression on anything with just a click. But full moon reviews also would look really interesting on the channel. Full moon reviews. It's just also a really clever title, because I'm, if you don't know, my last name has Wolf in it, so wolf-based stuff sounds like it kind of fits. We also got the gaming showcases here as a playlist. If you guys ever want to look at the gaming showcases, I post them there. Wolf Gaming is gonna be a playthrough series, but I haven't gotten around to doing a playthrough yet. The closest is maybe the Grid Legends live stream, but I don't know if I want that to be my first playthrough. It doesn't really seem playthrough-y, it's but who knows, maybe I'll start doing those, because I do like Grid Legends. We'll just have to wait and see. But I'm proud of the channel so far, proud of where it's going. Hopefully we can just expand on it and you guys can come on my journey with me. So anyway, it's been the Wolf, guys. This has been the Wolf's Den. Peace out.